Welcome back to Double Play. I am Chris Klemmer here with Brandon Walker, who basically has gone on the yak and said the show is dead, is not dead. I kind of hope sometimes Brandon
I never said
would
that.
be dead.
I never said that.
You were like, it's quit, and then you
No.
quit.
I said, how's the show going? I said, good. I quit.
Yeah.
I'm moving to Chicago. We don't know how we're going to navigate that. That's all.
I'm going to have guest people come in
We'll
here.
figure it out.
Yeah, this is probably your second.
I'll figure it out. It's
your
my
second
show.
to last episode here, probably.
No, that's not necessarily true.
I'm going to have to line up guests, and then when you're around, you'll come on. You're abandoning me. So.
I'm not abandoning anybody. You're abandoning
all the New York office.
Oh, well, yeah. Have you seen the New York office?
Yes.
Most of you people around here suck.
No, we're all very talented and very happy.
You're one of the most talented people here. Think about that. Chew on that for a second.
That's troubling to hear. That's good for nobody. Let's not say that.
Do me a favor real quick. Flip the camera off. Flip them off.
Oh, this?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to look at your face.
Look at that.
No, he's saying.
No, I said flip them off.
He wanted me to do the middle finger thing.
Oh.
Have you seen his finger?
By the time people, we're taping this a week ahead. So by the time this comes out, the middle finger thing will be like a tired joke by then.
That's fine. I do nothing better than tired jokes.
Okay.
That's like white Arsenio. Remember Arsenio's fingers?
I don't. I vaguely.
Arsenio Hall had the longest fingers in the history of show business.
He's the late night guy I can't do an impression of for a number of reasons.
Well, you could.
Well, I don't know how.
Remember Carcinio?
Yes, one of the best sketches.
All you do is whoop, 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 and they go crazy.
Ed McMahon. Phil Hartman is Ed McMahon. It still cracks me up. But we are talking sports movies today, as always. We have Rudy and Remember the Titans.
Yes.
Two football movies. I've always said you're my Ed McMahon.
No, I feel like it.
Yeah.
You are correct, sir.
This is the first time I've done this
Chris
show.
Klemmer, I have complicated feelings about both of these movies.
Me too.
I love both of these movies. But both of these movies make me question things. Like,
your intelligence?
No, I never question my intelligence.
Everybody else does.
How far did you get in the dozen? How far did you get in the dozen? How far did you get in the dozen? You, how far did you get?
Lost in the first round.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
How far did I get?
Made it to the championship game.
Second straight year.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you?
You're a choke artist. You're a loser. You're the Buffalo Bills of the dozen. That's what it tells me.
Jim Kelly's in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So is Thurman Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna stand in Bruce Smith's face today and tell him he's not any good?
No. Bruce Smith is
dead.
No, he's alive. They're all alive. Jim Kelly's had some health issues, but he's alive.
You sure Bruce Smith's not dead?
I'm pretty confident.
Okay. All right. Reggie White's dead.
Yes, he died. Not funny, but sad story. You know what he did the night before he died?
Lived.
Yes, he went and saw Fat Albert, the live action movie, and then like 4 hours later died.
Tough way to go
That's
out.
the last thing he saw.
Tough way to go out. I wonder what movie I'll see right before I die. I guess it hasn't been made yet.
Or let's calm down with your life
Oppenheimer.
expectancy.
Yeah. Oppenheimer or something.
Right.
Or fucking the new Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
These movies are complicated to me because I love both of these movies. I had Rudy on VHS tape and then DVD, and then I had Remember the Titans was right in 99, 2000, 2001 is when DVD collecting and buying really took off.
Right when we were in college.
Yep. And that's when DVDs were the thing. So this was an auto DVD buy. I bought it on DVD before I'd ever seen it. I didn't see either of these in the theater.
Neither did I. Nobody saw Rudy in the theater. We were just talking about that.
Rudy kind of bombed, although I guess
it made money.
The budget wasn't big.
No, it cost $13 to make. I think it made $20 million domestic. But its opening weekend, it started 5th.
Do you know what you could have seen that weekend?
I do.
I wrote it down. You don't have to look at your computer.
All right.
You could have seen what finished first that weekend was... I'm asking you to guess. I'm not asking you to look.
Oh, Beverly Hillbillies.
Okay, I wrote down the wrong weekend.
Yeah, you did.
Because I wrote down Demolition Man.
Which was number 2. They're correct.
Beverly Hillbillies was one?
Yeah. I mean,
that was awful. I saw that in the theater.
Did you really?
Jim Varney, I believe.
Yes, absolutely right. Who is dead?
Jim Varney, Erica Aliniak, Dabney Coleman.
Yep.
Dabney Coleman was in every bad movie from 1987 to 1995.
And every bad TV show. He had a number of shows that would last for like 13 episodes and get canceled. I think Cloris Leachman.
What was interesting about the movies when Rudy came out,
mm-hmm.
you could have also seen Cool Runnings, which was out, Very good sports movie.
Yes.
Terrific movie. John Candy, all those guys. And then you could have seen The Program, which was
Dougie
finished.
Doug, isn't that movie?
Leon. Dougie
Yes,
Doug.
yeah.
But
The
so
Program?
The Program, which is another movie about college football, was in the movies the same time Rudy was.
Really?
Yeah. And it had been out for like 4 weeks.
Okay.
And I think Rudy's a better movie than The Program. Program is good, and people say they love it, but it's also terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not a very good
See,
movie.
now you really go Blue Chips, and I feel like Blue Chips is just
No,
slightly better.
Blue Chips is a lot smarter written. It's a lot better. The level of actor in Blue Chips is
better.
It's
No,
higher,
it's
yeah.
better. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I don't think it's that substantially better. I put them.
I mean, Nick Nolte as a coach is terrific. James Caan
James
as
Caan's
coach,
in Program.
it's okay, but
James Caan's pretty good.
James Caan is almost in a supporting role, whereas Nick Nolte is in a starring role. The coach in The Program is not a starring.
See, I need
role.
to see that again. I need to see both.
Yeah,
of them.
it's mostly about the players.
I'll see them without you. Apparently,
Stuff
You're not in the
that-
show anymore.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you mad?
No, it's fine.
You knew I had to move.
I know.
Why?
I can't be sad. I can't be
You're
melancholy.
not sad. You're mad.
That's what happens. You go through the wave of human emotions, right?
So you're at what's the
I'm like a
5 steps of?
I'm like a jilted.
You're gonna be in denial soon.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, he's not leaving.
He's not leaving. He'll be back next week.
And then finally acceptance.
That's right.
All
He's
right.
gone.
So maybe next week will
Yeah.
be acceptance.
I mean, we haven't played Sporkle in a while, but we're not gonna play Sporkle again. You're gonna be gone. It's fine. Things are changing. I'm trying to get adjusted to things changing because we have the
Clemmer,
July
do you
4th
like?
week
Do you
off.
like me?
I tolerate you. No, I do like you.
I
I
never
do
got the sense that you
I do
enjoyed
like
my
you.
company, and now
Yes, you know I enjoy.
now
your
you're
company.
getting sad.
I do enjoy your company.
I wish the feeling was mutual.
So do I.
Rudy and Remember the Titans.
You could have also seen The Nightmare Before Christmas that in theaters as well.
Oh, was that out?
Which I wonder if that cannibalized some of the kid audience, like a family.
We
kid.
were in the 9th grade
Yes.
when this came out.
Yep.
That fall, that winter's interesting. I remember it not being great for movies. Mrs. Doubtfire's coming along shortly.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what else is coming.
I want to say Santa Claus.
I think that's the next year.
You might be right.
I think that's the fall of '94.
I mixed my freshman and sophomore years up because I didn't have a license either year.
This year
so.
was when Schindler's List won for Best Picture.
Mhm.
I think that's probably
So Jurassic Park was the summer.
Jurassic Park was in the summer, but I don't remember a gigantic movie being in this part of this
Well,
year.
it's tough. It's October. Actually, both of these movies came out in Octobers. And, that's kind of right before the Oscar push and it's after the summer. So it is kind of when you throw some of these things against the wall and see what
But
sticks.
it's also when you drop a football movie.
It is.
It's a football. Before we dive into the movies,
Mhm.
is football the hardest sport to make a great movie about? Because I think it's the sport that probably has the least good movies.
Oh, it does. I would think if I didn't know anything, if I was an alien, I know it looked like one, but if I actually was one, I would say football would be the easiest because you could do stunt guys with the helmets.
You could, but the size and scope of a football team and telling the story is a lot bigger than the size and scope of a basketball team or even a baseball team.
Baseball still has 25 guys in the roster.
But baseball doesn't. Baseball guys are not. Football guys are covered up. They're wearing pads. They're wearing helmets.
Right.
They're faceless.
Yes.
Baseball players are not.
Mhm.
They're the very opposite of faceless. They are personality. They are all these things. Whereas football is also a war, and filming football, it's hard to get as physical as you need to get in football to have a convincing movie. Where baseball, if you have a guy who can convincingly throw a ball and somebody can convincingly swing a bat, you've got it.
So the other side of that is what about boxing? Boxing is incredibly physical. There's nowhere to hide, and we have a ton of great boxing movies.
Well, some of the greatest boxing movies also have just ridiculously terrible boxing scenes. Like some of the Rockies are way over the top, and you know that.
I choose not to accept that.
Yeah, but they are. They are. I mean, the Rocky Drago fight. The actual boxing of that is cartoonish. It's absolutely cartoonish.
The whole movie is, though. I mean,
It is, but I'm just saying that. Like, there's. Let's not act like they're a one-to-one representation of the sport.
No, I know that's fair, but there's just so many good boxing movies, so many great boxing movies, and there's so few even good football movies.
These are two. I'm going to say these are two good.
Jesus, you might not make it to Oppenheimer. Man, oh man.
You okay?
I'm fine. We're the same age, which troubles me.
I'm going to say these are two good football movies. I'm going to put these two on the list of good football movies. Friday Night Lights is a good football movie.
Friday Night Lights is substantially better than these two movies.
Friday Night Lights is the best football movie ever made.
Any Given Sunday is better than these two.
I didn't love Any Given Sunday either.
I watched Friday Night Lights for this show, right? This is the
Right.
first time I've seen it.
Yeah.
Watching Friday Night Lights made me like Remember the Titans less, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes complete sense because when we get to Remember the Titans, I've got a take about that.
Okay.
I've got a take about that. You want to do Rudy? We always do chronological, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So we do Rudy first. First of all, you kind of always have to wonder, all right, how does a movie get made? How do they come up with this idea for a story? Mm-hmm. Last week we had Michael Jordan signing with Nike.
Yep.
This week we have a little used walk-on who just wants to get on the field as his dream. Now, how does this get made in 1993? Why does this get made in 93? Now, I think they did a good job with the limitations of that story, as convoluted as it may be, and if you listen to people in real life, the guy Daniel Rudiger wasn't this great story. But anyway, we're talking about the movie and not the real life story.
Right. There are some things I want to talk about the real life.
How did this movie get made?
Yeah, we have a sports movie to, I guess, thank or blame for this.
Yeah.
Hoosiers. Without Hoosiers, the movie never happens.
But Hoosiers, Klemmer, is... You see why Hoosiers got made. Indiana high school basketball is a classic thing, and they let the small teams play the big teams, and this tiny team with 64 guys in the whole school beats South Bend Central, beats this city team. True underdog story. This is a guy who made the practice squad. Right,
but what happened was from the behind-the-scenes element, you had Rudy Rudiger wanting to get a film made, talk to the writer, Angelo Pizzo, who then his directing partner is David Anspaugh, and both those guys did Hoosiers. And because Hoosiers is so successful, the studio was like, all right, we believe you guys can tell another sports story. So, but without Hoosiers, like you said, you can tell that get made. Like it works off the page. You get Gene Hackman involved. This story is so much more bizarre and weird that there's no way Rudy would have come before Hoosiers.
No, it couldn't have.
Yeah.
It couldn't have. No, so you're telling me the same guys that wrote Hoosiers wrote this?
And directed it. And you can tell the same score. Jerry
the
Goldsmith.
whole team.
Yeah, and it does feel like a cousin movie to it.
See, I don't get that.
Just from a look. I'm not saying a quality standpoint.
Because Rudy is... Hoosiers is supposed to be in 1951. Mm-hmm. Rudy's supposed to be in 1975, right?
Yeah, but it takes place from like 70 to 75.
But Hoosiers is like, I feel like darker and grittier and shot.
Completely agree.
This is shot like a Disney movie. This is shot like everything was sunny and beautiful and fantastic.
Kind of, but it's so weird. I think Remember the Titans, which is a Disney movie, is the quintessential Disney movie, like the way it's shot.
It is, and that's the problem.
Oh, I agree.
That's the problem with Remember the Titans.
It makes it's the worst decision they could have gone.
It hurts the movie. We'll talk about Remember the Titans.
But I feel like Rudy is just bizarre. I think it's the weird movie that probably only would have happened in the 90s.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was in the sports movie heyday, right? I've already told you there were 3 sports movies out at that time. Right. But between 92 and 96, there were probably 25 big-budget sports movies made.
And we were coming off of that great run in the late 80s, which propelled
Durham, Major League, and all these, yeah. But they were starting to splinter, right? Those in the 80s were these big stories. In the 90s, you started to get kids' sports movies popping up, like Little Giants and Mighty Ducks. And then you had these narrow focus stories like this one. This one on paper doesn't work. The movie does work. I think it's a solid movie, and it's, to me, 2 movies. It's the first 45 minutes, which are a little morose and solemn and drag, and the last 45 minutes, which is once he gets to be a practice member of Notre Dame's squad. The last 45 minutes of this movie are one of my favorite movies. But as a whole, I think the first 45 minutes is a slog getting there. It's a drag. You got to go through some personal problems. You got to go through this. You got to go through that. But once he gets on the field and you get the montage of him going through practice, I think it's fantastic. You don't like that?
I don't know how I feel about this movie. I'm very conflicted. There are things I really like about this movie, and there are things I really think are just really strange.
But does this movie stir you at all in the end?
At the end, it does.
Right.
But it's cheap, though. It shouldn't. It's almost like a
but
flaw.
aren't cheap stirring? Isn't cheap stirring that counts, right? There's a reason it's cheap because it knows where to get you.
If you know what really happened, which I think is important, because they do talk about it in the movie what really happened. So if they bring it up, I think it's fair to bring it up. It's a court of law thing.
Yeah.
If you use that as evidence, then I'm allowed to.
I think we've got the point.
Gonna miss this show. Doing it with you.
Continue.
Gonna miss it a lot. So Sean Astin as Rudy. It does a great job. I think he's perfect in this. I think Sean Astin's amazing. He's the heartbeat of the Goonies.
Okay.
And he's the heartbeat of this.
All right. Do you want to stop and have the Sean Astin conversation?
Can, yep. I'm going to fight for my guy here.
No, let's have the Sean Astin
All right.
conversation. Goonies?
Yes.
This movie?
Yep.
He's not the main guy, but he's in Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Pretty remarkable movie career.
It is.
That is 100% forgotten to time.
Well, he in Stranger Things, he had kind of like a little bit of a renaissance.
50 First Dates.
But that's not what you think of when you think of that movie, though.
No.
Like, to Brandon's point, he is kind of forgotten.
He's forgotten to history.
Except for... Well,
but, like, he starred in this movie.
Yeah.
Was Rudy, and whatever you think, this is probably an iconic sports movie, and this is an iconic sports role.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
100%.
He was then one of the 5 or 6 biggest guys in Lord of the Rings trilogy, which was one of the biggest trilogies in the history of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his career, if you just parse it out and put the headlines up, is gigantic.
Yeah.
And if you put him in a lineup today, your casual fan isn't picking him out.
Maybe not. So his back...
You know what they're going to say?
What's that?
That's Rudy.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, the first thing you think of is Rudy. Even obviously, he's a kid in Goonies, but you're right. The thing with Sean Astin, he came from a lot of money. Or he came from his mom was Patty Duke. He had his dad was John Astin, kind of. Also could have been Desi Arnaz Jr. He had a Hollywood background, so I don't think he needed to be as. He didn't need to take every script that came his way like some actors do.
Right.
So because of that, maybe he was a bit more deliberate in what he chose to do, and because of that, maybe he didn't work as much.
But do you think he ultimately underachieved?
No, I don't. I think he's limited. I don't think he's like insanely talented. I think he's really charismatic and super likable.
Super good in this.
Super likable.
He's super good in this. He plays his role in the Lord of the Rings stuff, and even in 50 First Dates, he's a goofball throwaway character who's really good at it. Like I think he could have doubled his output. I think he could have been in more stuff. I
probably
at 93. If you asked me what Sean Astin's going to do, I would have said, "Wow, he's going to be a guy, a constant guy." Like he would after 93, he never carried another movie.
Yeah, I guess not.
Is this the only movie he ever carried?
Yeah, I can't think of another one. I mean, maybe he might have been in something that didn't work. But I don't remember him ever carrying any movie that has any,
I mean, he carried
today.
He carried this, a flimsy story.
Yes.
A flimsy story that really shouldn't work, and he made it, or he helped make it an iconic sports movie.
Yo, yeah. Oh, without somebody else in this role, this movie doesn't work at all. You have to like this guy. And this guy is a psychopath. This guy is insane.
Early 90s young guys. I'm blanking.
But he's in Encino Man as well.
That just made me think, what if Pauly Shore was playing this? What if Brendan Fraser was Rudy?
Yeah. Well, he can't be. He's too big, but...
Yeah.
Brendan
Fraser's big. Vince Vaughn's big.
Like Frank Whaley, I don't know if you know who that is. He's in Career Opportunities. He has a small part in Pulp Fiction.
I'm not a nerd.
Yeah, right.
I'm not a stupid nerd.
Right, yes. But you have to be a smaller actor. I'm thinking like boyish actors that could kind of play this role.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is Rudy.
All the right moves. Yeah, it is funny. But, I mean, it has to be someone who is that underdog, likable guy. Especially considering the fact that if you just look at if you just said it's on paper, this person is insane.
Yeah.
And is almost, how many times, like I'm watching this now as an adult, and I'm like, is this worth it?
Yeah, it's like, well, he's obsessed. He's an obsessive. Right. He's got some sort of disorder.
Right.
And it's not about the football. He's just obsessed with convincing his family that he's worth a shit. Which you can understand where he's coming from with that, but at the same time, and in fact, one of the characters tells him that. Charles S. Dutton, who we'll get to in a minute, I'm sure. Charles S. Dutton's like, you're so far up your own ass about this football team, you don't realize you just got 4 years of a high quality education.
Yes.
Like the guy's studying at Notre Dame, the guy's studying at Holy Cross, the guy's a winner, objectively a winner.
Yeah.
And he plays the role of a loser even in his own mind.
Right.
And his brothers are dicks, or at least one of his brothers is a dick.
I think both. I mean, he steals. I mean, can't date your.
When did you watch this?
For the first time?
Yeah.
When I was 15, 16. I got it on.
So you saw it back then.
VHS.
And you just watched it recently too.
Yeah, and I watched it since then a couple of times.
Yeah. So I was both of these movies we're talking about today. I was not a first wave guy. I didn't see Rudy in the theater. I probably didn't see Rudy till 95, 96.
That's about me too.
When it started getting to TV rotation.
Yep.
And I think I caught the last 30 minutes, and I was like, wow, that's pretty good. I'll go back and watch the rest of it. And I went back and watched the rest, and I think I was yawning through like 30 minutes, and finally it picks up.
It's horrible in the beginning. Like there are parts that, like.
Well, there's nobody likable in the movie until like 40 minutes in.
But this stuff, his family's terrible.
Yeah, his dad's an asshole. His brothers are assholes. His friends are assholes. Everybody's
But that
an
one
asshole.
friend who dies in the
Yeah.
it's kind of ridiculous. The whole thing's goofy and just badly made at times.
Yeah.
The movie is a badly made movie for good stretches.
But then it gets going. Then it finds itself, don't you think?
The whole time I'm like, thank God he is getting an education at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for that, none of this is worth getting to run through a tunnel once. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah. All right,
If that's your kid, you'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop it.
I do think Charles S. Dutton, we find him about 45 minutes in.
Yes.
I think he grabs the movie and says, all right, let's go to the finish line. I think he helps it.
You need someone who's stoic, a good actor.
To talk some sense into this
Yes.
asshole. Hey, what were you doing? And takes care of him and all that stuff. And Charles S. Dutton's really good.
He's great. He's awesome. And he has a one episode spot in The Sopranos. He's fantastic.
I don't know that I've ever seen him in anything and thought, oh, he was bad. He's
He's always good.
Yeah,
he's
terrific.
very good in this. He grounds everything. He's centered. I think Ned Beatty's supposed to be that role to some extent in the beginning, and I love Ned Beatty as an actor. He's not used well here.
Yeah.
I do like the part when he's talking to Rudy.
Which one's Ned Beatty?
His dad.
Okay.
He's talking to him at the bus stop, and he's explaining how how the family has had chased dreams that didn't work well. I like that reality a little bit for Rudy. Of course, Rudy's going to ignore it because he's just just hell bent on doing this.
I think he has different levels of that father throughout the movie. It's the dad at first, and then it's Father Kavanaugh for like a 15-minute stretch, and he gets him to Charles S. Dutton, which I don't even remember his name in the movie. That's how
I guess it's Fortune. I also forgot his name.
I don't think they ever say it.
I don't know if they do either because I'm like, Fortune is his name?
Yeah. So, but once he gets introduced to the story, and you start, and Rudy starts going from wild-eyed dreamer to, okay, the dream's right here, and let's just finish the deal. I think it's good. And then it is able to hit the sports movie highs that you need to hit to be memorable. The scenes at the end where the whole team throws their jersey on the desk. I mean, that's a meme. That's memes. That's.
It's so corny.
It might be corny.
I can't.
You can't?
It's too much. What are we doing here, guys? It's way too over the top.
As much as I'm going to hate on the next movie for being corny, this movie doesn't work without it.
So that doesn't emotionally move me at all. I do get moved when they grab him and they throw him on their shoulders, and he's like the crowd's chanting his name, and then I find out Joe Montana's like, that's all bullshit.
Well, that never happened. Yeah.
And it's like, all right, so the only part that really kind of emotionally hooked me were lies.
Yeah.
And even the Jersey part is a lie. That never happened either.
Well,
and it's like, so when they did carry him off on their shoulders, but it was three guys fucking around. I guess they're like, oh, we'll carry off the practice guy as a joke. It was a joke.
Well,
and the movie frames it as he's some hero.
I guess you do have to accept that you're watching a movie, right? And you got to have something.
But that's manipulative, though. That's not like taking something out for the sake of telling a good narrative.
You're right. But
they're lying.
If you're making this movie and you've got millions of dollars in it, and you've got these cameras up, you got to have something, because there ain't much to this fucking story.
I think it's enough that he got to achieve what he wanted to achieve, although I just kept saying the whole time, is this worth it? And I also started questioning, what is ambition? Is ambition good? And it is, you need to have some ambition to survive, obviously, but at some point, is ambition
I don't know if he
become a terrible thing?
I don't know if he had ambition as much as he had prideful obsession. Ambition for the sake of ambition is good. Ambition creates a better you. Ambition unlocks everything. He didn't care about what it meant for him. He just wanted to go do it because he wanted to do it.
He kept saying to make his dad proud.
He wanted to prove to everybody back home that prove what? And then Charles S. Dutton even grabs him by the shoulders. You ain't got nothing to prove to anybody but yourself.
Right.
Quit being an asshole. Charles S. Dutton is the audience.
Yes.
He's us.
He's the only voice of reason.
He's the only one saying, hey.
We're following a crazed person
for
113 minutes, and Charles Dutton is the only guy. He's like the only are you a Simpsons fan?
What fan?
A Simpsons, the cartoon.
Yeah.
There was an episode where you have this guy who's like a normal guy, and he becomes so enraged and crazed by all the insanity around him, he loses his mind.
He sees Homer. Is he the one that sees Homer doing all these great things?
Yes.
And he's like, why does this happen to me? Shit
Right,
like that.
yeah. And because it's just madness. And Charles Dutton is the only voice in the madness we're surrounded by. And how horrible is Rudy's brothers for they take his girl. Like, I know it's his ex-girlfriend, whatever, although he's weird to her. She wants to buy a house, and he's like, no, I need to go run through a tunnel once.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so much insanity in this movie, it's hard for me to love it. It's too crazy.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I still love it. I still love it. He shows up when he shows up to Notre Dame. He finally gets his acceptance letter, and he's crying.
Mm-hmm.
Calls his dad, or he actually goes back home and to the mill and says, "Hey,
very cool moment. I like that.
I'm going, and hey, my son's going to Notre Dame.
I like that a lot.
All right, you want to work here? No, I'm going back for tryouts." And then they even scoff at him then. But when he shows up to try out, that's when the movie goes into overload. When you meet the Notre Dame coaches, when you get to go through that, and you see him get his ass whipped at practice, and you see why they like him, that he's getting his ass whipped, but he keeps picking himself up. I mean, that gets you going. If you're a sports fan, you understand that. So that's where the second movie starts, when he arrives there, and the second movie, to me, is great. Is it cheesy? Yes. Is it over the top? Yes.
Do I love it? Built on lies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so is the second movie we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad, though. I feel like with this, because they even say the very last title screen is, he was the last person to be carried off on his shoulders in a Notre Dame game. Well, yeah, but it's a joke. It doesn't count.
So I want to talk about one other actor.
I do too, but maybe we're talking about the same guy.
Okay.
It's one of the worst characters in film, if we're talking about the same character.
Well, I don't care who we're talking about. So I'm talking about Chelsea Ross.
Oh, I'm talking about somebody different. Okay.
Chelsea Ross has low-key put together a Hall of Fame sports movie resume. And he won't be in the star wing, but he will be in the other guy's wing, and he will be one of the lead characters. Because Chelsea Ross, from 86 to this movie in 93, 3 different sports, plays the same kind of role 3 different times. In Hoosiers, he's the guy that organizes the push to get Norman Dale out.
Yep.
He doubts him. He hates him, wants to run him out of town. He's the asshole that says you can't do it. Major League, he's Eddie Harris, the crafty veteran pitcher that says, hey, you young guys, you can't do it. He's that. And now here, he shows up as Dan Devine, the coach, who says, Rudy, great story, whatever. No, you're trash. You can't play for me. Bullshit. He's the same guy 3 times, and all 3 times he's terrific in all 3 movies.
Yeah, he does, and he's a good enough actor where he does it differently.
And I can't remember Chelsea Ross in any other movie but these 3 movies, and I'm sure he's in some.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a good actor. He's good because in Hoosiers he's kind of a loud, outspoken guy.
Yeah, he's leading the mob in Hoosiers.
As Divine in this, he's much more low key, much more strict, and with
he's just a disciplinarian football coach.
Yeah, but even though he's playing the same heavy, he's playing the same kind of bad guy role, whatever antagonist type role. Yeah. He does it differently, and even in Major League, he's kind of he does it differently too. He's quirky in his own way.
He's one of the guys in Major League.
Yeah,
he's just kind of that veteran hazing stuff.
I think he's a good actor, and
I think he's terrific.
I think he absolutely deserves a place in the sports movie actor Hall of Fame. Absolutely.
Wow, you finally are on the board with the Sports Movie Hall of Fame.
I was never against it.
Okay, good.
I'm fine with that. I have no problem.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
I'm fine with that. He's a key part in 3
legendary
iconic sports movies.
Yeah.
Even if I like Rudy, I don't love it, and that's
And
John
you like
Favreau.
Hoosiers, and you love Major League.
Gotta talk John Favreau. I mean, this role is it's so unnecessary. It's so bizarre.
It's weird.
It's so strange.
It's like, what's he doing? Especially like when he goes off. When did he get rich?
Wait, how's he get rich?
How did he get rich? He just said he was going to law school, right?
Yeah. And he comes back.
And that was at the beginning of the semester. He says, I'm going to Miami Law School.
In the fall, he says.
And then that was presumably in September or August. And then this game is in November. 3 months later, he pulls up in a limousine.
In the mid-'70s, when the economy wasn't particularly great either.
Why is he rich? How did he get rich in 3 months?
I don't understand.
I don't know.
And also, that tells us, so if that is true, where he needed Rudy to get... So does Rudy get pussy? Like lots of it? Because Rudy is getting all these girls for him.
I'm going to be honest. That's one of the flaws of this movie. If you look at Rudy, and Rudy would get pussy.
Yeah.
Rudy could get pussy.
Yeah.
There's no problem. And he's on the practice squad, too. Like, he's hanging out with the team.
Oh, yeah.
Rudy's getting pussy. So Rudy's not this loner loser, because he would be a decent guy. But, yeah, he gets this guy pussy.
Right.
And he is used as the bait to go get this guy pussy. How many times can we say pussy? before we get an R rating?
The P word. Oh, fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah, keep going.
Good.
But if he were to attack one of these women, we cannot say that, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that doesn't happen luckily in this one. Although maybe it does, but we don't see that part.
The program, it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Notre Dame.
No, but I like Rudy. I know it sounds I'm kind of shitting on it. I have a hard time getting my head wrapped around it. I do like that it's unique, and I like Sean Astin a lot.
It's one
and
of
the
those
Jerry
movies,
Goldsmith score is great.
It's one of those movies that I will willingly concede that this isn't that great. It's not that well made. If you want to say it's not that good of a movie, I'll concede that to you. I will also say I love the movie. I will watch it a lot, and I will start where I want to start it. I'll start at 45 minutes in, and I'll go from there. I love it. I love the Vince Vaughn little thing where he gets up in his grill and does all that. It's the first time maybe not the first time we ever see Vince Vaughn.
I think it is.
Kind of the first time we ever see Vince Vaughn.
First time I saw John Favreau, too.
Yeah, so it's just I love Rudy. Who's the MVP of this movie? Is it Astin or Charles S. Dutton? It's Astin, right?
It's got to be.
Yeah. Dutton's close. Dutton closes the gap. And then there's nobody else.
No.
There's nobody close.
No. I'll say doing this show made me like the movie less. I didn't know that some of the things were not true until I started doing research for this show.
Those are some things I'm willingly ignoring.
Yeah. I can't.
And some movies I'll say, hey, this is bullshit. Some movies I'll say, because if they didn't add that shit, there's no movie here.
Why?
This script is not a movie.
Him running through the tunnels, it's all he wanted to do. He gets to achieve it. And then he did get a sack. That's kind of cool.
Because Klemmer, what happened was he was a walk-on.
Yeah.
He tried out. Eventually made the team.
Right.
Got in the game.
Well, that's what makes me wonder if all this.
You have to introduce all this stuff.
He threw everything away for just that. It's like I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
And that makes me question the whole movie. I think that makes me think he's just a crazy person.
Well, he is crazy.
He's a crazy person.
Yeah. And also, some of the editing in the end isn't great. Like when they set up the sack or when they set up him playing in the game, they kind of get funky with the clock a little bit.
Yeah.
Where the clock will be running down with 14 seconds left. Like they don't have time to get the ball back. Like stuff like that.
So they're just running up the score on the sport team, by the way, too?
No, it's Georgia Tech.
I know, but they had like a 3-touchdown lead.
They're up
right?
17-3.
Yeah, they don't need to keep
and
doing
they score,
this.
Yeah. Well,
remember they score a touchdown. I know that's probably fake, but they score a touchdown.
Yeah.
So Rudy
he gets the ball back. Yeah.
Like that poor team must be like they're probably waiting for a kneel down. Like what the fuck?
Isn't Georgia Tech the one that blew out? They have the biggest blowout of all time.
222-0 over
Cumberland.
Yeah.
All right, so they
payback.
All right.
Georgia Tech was also a very good team back then.
Oh, I'm sure that they say that going into it.
Yeah.
And I'm not a college sports guy, so people will laugh at this take, but Joe Montana was the quarterback on the team. It would have been kind of cool to see some Joe Montana stuff in here.
Well, it's also just for the college football nerd in it, showing, the way they depict this the 70s is they just kind of make it murky fall days. They just kind of make it dreary fall days, But the band and the sounds and the sights of a full Notre Dame stadium, it's pretty awesome. I assume they filmed some of it on Notre Dame Day.
It was the first movie to be that Notre Dame allowed to be shot on location in like 60 years.
Yeah.
Since Newt Rockne All-American. So
how was Newt Rockne All-American when it came out?
How was it? I don't know. Are you trying to make fun of me being old?
You're older than me.
I'm not. I'm younger than you, actually. Yep. Your cough proved that point to me about 10 minutes later. Yeah, it was disgusting noises you make. MVP is Astin. What are you giving this movie 1 to 100?
Do I always go first?
Yep.
74.
Oh, we're right on the same page.
Okay.
71.
74, but I love it.
So to your point about the end being the best part, I was in the 50s. And then, as we're watching it, I'm like, oh, maybe this is in the 60s. And in the end, I'm like, fuck it. It's in the 70s.
Listen, if
it won me over. I'm like, you
cheap.
fucking Rudy.
It can be cheap. It can be whatever. But they know what buttons to press at the end. And it's not just him getting carried off. I think it's him on the sidelines, them chanting his name, the players chanting his name, the Roland Steele, the All-American, begging the coach to put him in, and finally the coach. And I think Chelsea Ross is fantastic here when he looks at the other coach like, hey, send him in.
He has to do all facial expressions.
And he has a kind of a smile on his face at the end. Like the way the coaches react to it, the way the players, the fans react to it, the way his dad reacts to it.
Yep.
There is one editing thing in there that I hate. After he goes on the field and he's doing it, or after maybe even when he's getting carried off, they show a shot of, you said Ned Beatty is his dad?
Yep.
His dad and his brother and they're both supposed to be nodding. Oh, yeah, this is great. They're looking in completely different directions.
Oh.
I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Ned Beatty's looking this way,
Yep.
and the brother's looking this way, and they're both going, and they're reacting to it, but they're not looking at the same thing. It's great. I thought the cheesiest line in the whole thing, by the way,
Saying something.
is when the dad walks into Notre Dame Stadium. This is the most beautiful sight these eyes have ever seen.
So my issue with that is, why have you never gone to this stadium?
That's a good question.
And why do you need to take a bus? Like, how poor is this family? They need to take a bus and get in a car.
And his college student buddy's pulling up in a limousine.
Right. None of that makes any sense. Yeah. Like, so I don't mind. I will, like, the first time I went to a baseball, I was young, but I went to a baseball park. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand being overwhelmed by the majesty of something like that, but I don't understand why he's like 65 and going, and also like why they need to take a bus, and also like why would they, if they love Notre Dame so much, why haven't they gone to a couple games just He's on the team. He can get you tickets.
No idea.
So bizarre. So many things like that don't make sense. It's not. I guess.
I also love how they didn't believe he was on the team. Like,
I know.
We can't get one picture of him on the team. Like,
he has a uniform.
There's no evidence he can provide. Like, he practiced with him for a year. He can't provide you any evidence.
Not one. Like, buddy can take a picture.
Like, he shows up. At Christmas, and they're like, you're not on the team.
I love that his family thinks he's always lying.
Right. So at some point, like, he can just take home your practice jersey, do something, take a snapshot, something.
It's not 1843. There's ways they could have shown that he's on the team. Very strange. But you know what? It does get me too.
I got 74. You got 71.
Yeah, against my better judgment.
If you're looking for the late night movie of the summer, check out God is a Bullet. It's exclusively in theaters starting on Friday, June 26th. It's based on the best-selling book by Boston Tehran. It's inspired by true events. It's got an incredible cast. Nicolaj Coster-Waldau, Micah Monroe, Jamie Foxx. Yes, the Oscar-winning Jamie Foxx. Nicolaj Coster-Waldau, you might know him from Game of Thrones, Shot Caller, The Last Thing He Told Me. This movie is a dip into the deadly world of a cult and its sociopathic, mesmerizing leader. It has violence that's grounded in emotion. How far would you go to save the one that you love? Is it violence, rage, or justice? A father doesn't stop to ask where the line is drawn. This is directed by acclaimed filmmaker Nick Cassavetes. He says it's, quote, the movie that he wanted to make for years, end quote. So say your prayers. Go check out God is a Bullet. Like I said, it's exclusively in theaters starting on Friday, June 26th. God is a Bullet. Check it out.
Now, I willingly admit that one's not a great movie, and I love it. This one, Remember the Titans, puts me in a total mental pretzel.
It should.
Because I love Remember the Titans.
Shouldn't.
And everybody loves Remember the Titans. It is beloved. If you put out a poll, the most beloved football movie, it's this one.
That's disappointing.
It's truth.
I'm sure you're right.
People love this movie. And I love it too. I love Denzel. I love the fact it's a high school football movie. I love the acting. I love Wood Harris. But it is the corniest fucking movie that has ever been made. It is so cheesy. It is so bad at times that I love it despite its flaws. And I will say, I love it, but it's not a good movie, and people lose their mind. It is overrated. People think it's one of the best football movies of all time. It is not. I still love it.
It's an after-school special. It's not a good movie.
And Denzel
Washington's great.
Here's my take that I was going to say earlier. If this movie, with this cast and this story, were made by the same people that made Friday Night Lights, this would be the greatest football movie of all time without discussion. If Peter Berg and his crew made this movie, it would be, and Disney did not have their hooks in it.
Yep.
It would be the greatest football movie of all time. End of sentence. But Disney made it, which means we have to sing in the locker room, ain't no mountain high enough. We got to do that.
And dance before
We got to
the
do the Temptations. We got to do this goofy-ass shit.
What was that for a little while in the early 2000s?
Disney decided every movie needed Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
A Motown song. They did in Glory Road too, right?
Every one of them. Every one of them. Yeah, and I just don't understand. Disney made a lot of money off this movie, so I get it. I guess it
was a monster hit.
Yeah, it made $26 million its first week. I don't know what it made in its total
Over
run.
$100 million.
But it was a big hit.
Yes.
And people love it.
They do.
And it's so cheesy.
I don't get it. I watch it. I understand if you're 13.
Do you not see any redeeming qualities in it? Because there are redeeming
there
qualities.
There are some. It's a very upset. Like, it's a very upset. It's a very angry movie. Like, I watch it angry because you're right. There's so much talent here, and there is an interesting story here.
Ungodly amount of talent here.
And there's an interesting story. But you're right. So it's in the wrong hands. Like, you're right. If Peter Berg had done this and it had been a different production company and they were willing to make it an R or even like a hard PG-13.
Yeah, if this is gritty.
This is so interesting. And instead, it's like a cartoon. It's ridiculous. It's silly. It's also like a waste of Denzel.
It is and it isn't. Because this was a huge hit.
It was.
And it was, I don't know if it was his, I don't think it was his first huge, just made to make money movie, made for a blockbuster. But this, followed by Training Day the next year, sent Denzel into another stratosphere. He was already a revered great actor,
right.
But this turned him into. This made him bigger. This and the Training Day.
Yeah,
it showed here he could be on a popcorn movie. He wasn't on a lot of popcorn movies in the 90s, but here he could headline a popcorn movie, and then Training Day you saw he could be an ass kicking bad guy.
I mean, he's in Pelican Brief with Julia Roberts. That was made to make money. That wasn't before this.
But it wasn't a very good movie either.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't at all. It's boring as hell.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was already a star. He was in Malcolm X.
This softened his edges, though.
It did. I agree. Even though he's playing a hard ass in it.
This is tremendously important to Denzel's career.
I agree.
And he is the best part of it. He is amazing.
Okay, I like Will Patton a lot as a character actor. I think he's very good. It does speak. I have some. So they're basically saying Will Patton and Denzel are equals. You know, that's what the whole movie's about, really.
And stature as football coaches, yes.
Which is wild because, like, I don't know, like, let's say it was Tom Cruise and, you know, like, Denzel's equal is not Will Patton. Like, Will Patton is a nice actor, but they should have gotten someone much bigger if you really want that to pop.
I don't see this movie working without Will Patton. Like, I know Will Patton is not Denzel, but Will Patton's fucking amazing in this movie, too. And I don't know if that's right, because the guy who plays the black coach here in this story has to come in and be the author and the architect of turning this whole ship around. And eventually he gets the white coach to be on board with him.
Right.
The white coach is not a co-author. He is playing the role that Denzel eventually writes for him. So, no, I think you can get away with Denzel being the star here and then Will Patton here.
Here's the other thing. I think this is kind of like makes it easy for the audience to... I think it's like paint by numbers for the audience. Like, obviously Denzel is going to be the big guy. He's gonna, because he's Denzel Washington. It's Will Patton.
Yeah.
So it almost makes like what happens in the movie almost like so obvious right from the credit. The very first time you see their names pop up on the screen, and you know what's gonna happen.
But that's fine. But if you know what you're going in for,
everything about this movie is so simple.
But you know that it's a story about the civil rights time and segregation and the end of that, and it's going to be a feel-good story in the end. So you know the character played by Denzel is going to be the guy that rises up through. So you know that going in. So that you're not informed by anything by having Will Patton show up on the screen. Also, I don't want any of this to come across as bad to Will Patton, because Will Patton again is amazing in this.
He's very good in this.
He's great in Armageddon. Will Patton's just good.
Will Patton's very good.
Will Patton's a very good fucking actor.
A list of complaints out of this movie, Will Patton's very low. I just was watching and being like...
he can't be on the list.
Okay, that's fine.
Take him off the list entirely.
I took him off.
There's a lot of complaints to be made about this movie.
Casting's not one of them.
Casting is not one of them. Donald Faison as the running back is great.
Yes.
Wood Harris, who was 30 goddamn years old.
So bizarre.
It is weird. They couldn't have found somebody a little...
Well, honestly, though, I'm glad they...
Wood Harris is great.
I never watch a movie and think, oh, he's too old. Like, he's such a good actor, I believe him.
Yeah. One of my favorite movies from the 90s is Above the Rim. That came out in 94, 6 years before this. And Wood Harris is just a grown man who plays like a thug. Just a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
And now, 6 years later, he's a senior in high school.
Right.
So that's a little jarring. But he does pull it off well. And I don't remember who plays Gary Bertier. I know he was in Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, it's Ryan Hurst.
Yeah, Ryan Hurst. And then, of course, you got the Gosling, and you got the guys that pop up. Kit Pardue.
I have issues with, like, and this isn't Ethan Suplee's fault, but, like, that whole character, the way it's written. Like, it's just these people, everyone's a cartoon character. Like, how them be human beings?
All right, he's the happy-go-lucky white guy who doesn't see color and just, oh, boys,
Right.
I'm just here to hit somebody. Yeah, they don't know how to write with nuance in these movies. It's either I hate black people, I hate white people,
right.
I love black people, I love white people. Those are your 4 character arcs. Kate Bosworth starts out as an I hate black people person and turns into I love white. Like that's your 4 character types in this movie.
That's why I'm surprised you like this. It's just so simple.
It is simple. It's a high school football movie of triumph and coming together. When they go into the, I don't know. It's something about it. It is a lovable movie. It tells it's a feel-good movie. It's designed to make you feel good. Is it schlock? Yes. Is it cheesy? Yes.
It's stupid, though. It's even beyond that. Like, you can say, like, some things are overly sentimental. Some movies I like It's a Wonderful Life, is probably overly sentimental.
Yeah.
It's not stupid. This movie is treating the audience like we're idiots. It's like insulting at times. Like, this is a movie made for children. It's made for kids who are 13, 14.
But it was made by Disney, so it really was. I mean, it was made.
But
for
you're an
a younger
adult.
audience.
You say you love it. Like, I don't get it.
Well, I was when it came out, I was 21.
Right, we were adults.
I'm an adult, but I'm still. If a movie comes out about high school football, I'm just all that. I'm the audience at that point.
I watched it in college. I remember thinking this movie's fucking stupid.
You hated it then. You hate it now.
I'm like, this is just. This
you
is
think
made
it's
for
a bad movie.
No, I think I'm gonna no. 'Cause there's gray area here. I'm actually.
Yeah.
I'm
okay.
gonna.
Fine.
Our audience isn't stupid.
Relax. Well.
They're not. And there's complexities here. This is not a good movie at all. This is a terribly written movie with some very good performances.
Will you at least give me the fact that it could be a good, bad movie?
No. It's not. There are good, bad movies.
I think there's a good...
Ed is a good, bad movie.
No. Shut up.
Ed is fun. I'd rather watch Ed than this again.
Nothing's fun about Ed.
It makes me laugh.
This is a... There's a good movie in here, and it is weighed down by the schlock and the cheesiness and the cornballness and the over-the-top, we're going to make you feel something. It is weighed down, but still, I see a good movie in here. I see a memorable movie. I see a comfort movie, a go-back-to movie, a blanket movie. This I will not say this is a bad movie. I think people overstate it. They overrate it. They
Wildly.
put it way too high when they say it's the best football movie ever. It's not that. If it were, again, made by somebody not trying to squeeze the tears out of your wallet, then yeah, but it is.
I think the love for this movie is generational. So I think I'll ask Gooch. Gooch, do you like this movie?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Fully agree with the points you're making.
You recognize it's not a great movie, but you love it still.
But when you saw it, you were probably a kid for the first time, and you was like, "Oh, this is great."
I mean, this is a movie that we watched every year.
But there's room. There's room for those types of movies, right?
I don't know. I mean, not for me, but I get from his point of view. Those I watched as a kid. It's probably a nostalgia element when he watches it. If you're our age or older and you like this movie, I almost think something's like mentally wrong with you.
Give me some more. All right, so pros of this movie. I wrote down Denzel, Will Patton. It just feels good, and the cast. Those are the 4 pros.
Cast is amazing.
Kit Pardue. You could have come out of here thinking he was going to be a star.
Yeah. Well, he got a chance and he blew it.
He got a race car movie, right?
With Stallone and a bomb. Yeah, he's not a good actor. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I would say for all of it, as bad as the writing is here, that movie is written for someone to become a star. And he's a good-looking guy. It's like, oh, it all works, but it doesn't.
And Gosling's here too, just hanging out in the back.
Kind of being a
total liability in coverage. Total liability in coverage.
His worst performance.
The cons. I mean, he was 18 here.
I know, but the other ones, like Donald Faison, or even. I mean,
Faison was a year from being in Scrubs. Like he was ready to. He's
true,
legit,
and he had already he was older. But I always mispronounce her last name, Hayden Panettiere.
Panettiere, yeah.
I hate that. Like the whole role was stupid and it's so awful, but her performance is pretty good.
Man, the daughter's rough. The daughter's a lot.
It gets worse as the movie goes on because then she has another daughter to fight with.
Yeah, but she's just talking to grown men like they're idiots. Like, you sit down. He's getting tore up like he stole something. Sit down. Like, just relax, girl. I mean, she's
no one behaves like that. No one
behaves like that.
calls their dad coach. No one is running around screaming at adults.
She might be the daughter character might be the worst part.
And to prove that this movie is made for small children or for preteens, we spend a good chunk of the conclusion watching two little girls fight.
Yeah.
As a 43-year-old man, I don't want to watch that. It's just stupid. Well, it's mindless.
I think this movie also is just absolutely ripe with overacting from the lesser parts.
Yeah.
The character of the dad who it's Ryan Gosling's dad, but he at the very beginning they're talking about boycotting the school and he just overacts it. Boycott the school. He's just yelling like that. He's doing that, and then he comes in there. This is your fault, you son of a bitch. There's that, and then there's this bizarre scene in a diner with Coach Tyrell and Will Patton. Tyrell is the other white coach. Two white coaches, two black coaches.
Yep.
And he's like, "Where's Cheryl at tonight?" "Oh, she's over at the Boones." And he gets fucking furious. He's like, "Over at the Boones, you son of a bitch." This is how it's going to go down? Whoa.
When you're in the restaurant, right?
All he said was his daughter's at Coach Boone's. Why are you so goddamn mad?
He gets
he just can't. He said, "This is it? I'm out of here, you motherfucker." He is just fighting mad because Cheryl's over at the Boones.
Now, the same storyline with assistant coach that may or may not be racist is in Friday Night Lights, the TV show.
Yeah.
And it's handled with such care and grace. It's brilliantly written in the first season. It's so good. And then this is such a ridiculous cartoon. So I'm surprised you like this. So here's my pushback on you on this. You don't like The Sandlot as much as Little Big League. Your point is, look, The Little Big League is an intelligent film.
Yeah.
Yes, it's for kids, but it's really smart and well done.
Yeah.
Sandlot, and I will admit to this, is a little bit probably nostalgia for me. It also speaks about me and hanging out with my buddies. But I agree that Sandlot is not as smart as this. Little Big League. This has no intelligence whatsoever. It's simply emotion, and a great actor in Denzel. Other than that, there's nothing to this movie.
I would stretch the great actor in Denzel, the great actors in Denzel, Wood, Harris. I mean, the cast is phenomenal.
Will Patton's very good.
It's got some big time players and performances, and if you think about if I think about going through this entire movie, we meet the little girl and that character's terrible, and then they go to camp and they solve racism in about 5 minutes.
Yes.
You have this half of the room is black, this half of the room is white. They want to kill each other. But wait, guys, you're going to have to play together. Oh, okay. And then they're fine. They're coming. They literally leave camp singing the Temptations or something.
Right.
And that, yeah. So
and how it ends.
I know it's not smart.
How about the end?
And then, hold on. Not even the end. I haven't even gotten, I'm only a third through the movie. Then they decide to come together. The town is still being assholes, right? And say, hey, guys, we're better than this. And how do they come up? They're going to dance in their warm-up. And they dance their way into the stadium.
Could you imagine Coach Boone allowing that to happen?
No. And just it goes on and on. But the kicker is at the end. The dumbest thing that's ever been.
It's incredible.
The dumbest thing that's ever been in maybe any movie in the history of movies. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Gary Bertier dies, and they all get together at his funeral and sing "Na na 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 hey hey goodbye." A song that is used in sports to mock your opponent. We're singing that at a funeral.
As they're lowering him into the ground.
We're singing it more, it's a very dour version of it.
Yes.
We're singing it.
With sad faces.
Na, 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 na. Hey, goodbye. The dumbest thing that's ever appeared in any movie.
And the wild thing is, Gary Bertier is a real person who really did die young.
He lived 10 years after this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's all true. So it's almost kind of insulting. He's a real dead person.
Not all of it is true though. I don't think he got hurt before the championship game.
It was after.
Yeah.
Which
he played in the championship game.
Yes.
And the biggest thing about this is an underdog story that shows them coming together and struggling to beat these teams. In real life, the T.C. Williams High School, which was made up of white and black players, destroyed everybody.
Yeah.
Beat the ever-living hell out of these white-ass teams.
I think that's a better story. I don't know why they just didn't go with that.
Just go with that. Hey, we're white, we're black. Let's play ball together. Let's beat the shit out of everybody. That's funny. That plays.
And also, we got to talk more about Gary Bertier. So he gets in a car accident. They find out that night he's paralyzed.
They find out almost within seconds, yes.
And then, not only that, but then he's up and talking with everybody, and he's making jokes with the nurses.
Have you ever noticed in the car crash scene that you can see the stuntman's helmet?
I didn't until you brought it up to me. Now I see it now.
You can see the stuntman's helmet in the car crash scene, but whatever.
That I'm okay with. Because honestly, I didn't see it until you brought it up to me. So I would have...
All right. Well, maybe I have a sharper eye.
You might. I'm bad with stuff like that because I get sucked into the story.
Yeah. If you start pulling the thread on this movie at all, it falls apart.
But
just enjoy it. Go in, like it. Let them preach to you.
Don't have a brain and watch this movie intellectually. Watch him in the hospital. Those scenes are so ridiculous. Nothing about that's what I don't get why people like this movie so much. Unless you saw it when you were a kid.
So he gets hurt on a Friday night. First of all, it was after the game, so it's probably like 11 o'clock he gets hurt. By 12:30, Julius has gone. His friend has gone to the hospital. By 12:45, he's in the room, and they're having their memorable. So in an hour, he's gone from healthy college football, high school football player to paralyzed, ultimately accepting it and inspiring other people.
I gotta ask Gooch. Gooch, you love movies. You've seen a ton of movies. How can you defend this? I guess I don't. I'm lost here.
I'm a sucker for schlock. Like I like camp. I like schlock. I like the cheesiness. Like sometimes it works, and I think it works here.
Is Hall of Fame schlock?
Yeah.
This is the greatest. Yeah, this is maybe the best schlock that's ever, or the most successful schlock ever put on film. Some of it.
So you watch it like knowing it's bad, and you're kind of like making
fun of it.
I'm missing something.
Think about like Top Gun Maverick, which more story to that there, but at the same time, it's a cheesy ass movie.
It is, but it's well made and well done.
But he's right. Inside the well-madeness, there's some cheesy ass shit.
I guess, but I feel like the cheesy ass shit here overrides everything else so monumentally. Where Top Gun Maverick has a lot of other things going for it.
I think watching this one with fresh eyes in 2000, you watched it and you let it emotionally get to where it needs to get to. You let it play these things, and it's subsequent rewatches where you realize that's stupid, that's silly, that's schlock. I don't think the first time I watched this I was like, they're really over the top here. This is too syrupy sweet. It's in rewatches I found that out.
Well, everyone agrees with you. When this came out, it got a cinema score of A+, which is incredibly rare. People went and saw this, and they loved it. It got good word of mouth. It made a lot of money.
What about guys like Ebert and all that? Did they love it?
They gave it like a lukewarm, positive.
You want to guess the Metacritic score, which is just aggregating critic scores 0 to 100?
I would guess 60. Well, oh, good. All right. There's some sense.
48.
So critics saw through it.
Yeah.
But
honestly, that's higher than I thought.
Even then, if I'm a critic, I might have watched this back then and said, you know what, this movie is corny and cheesy and sugary, but Denzel's great. If you're a Denzel fan, you better go watch it.
Yeah, that's fair. And you mentioned all the, some of the acting is very impressive. This is not I know I'm shitting on it because I just feel like to push back against all the love it has. But this is not a bad movie. This is not a movie I would recommend anyone watch, but this is not a movie I'm saying is bad by any stretch. Especially the stuff we watched on this show. Like, this is...
If you ask people to list their top 10 sports movies, this is showing up in like 8 of 10 lists, and it shouldn't.
Right.
It shouldn't be in the top 3 football movies list.
No.
Although there are just not that many good football movies.
Even having said that.
But if Gooch said, hey, what are y'all doing? And 2 hours from now, we had to do something here. He said, I'm going to throw on Remember the Titans. I think I'd sit here and watch it.
Ugh, no, I wouldn't.
I'd sit here and watch it. I will watch. I've watched it probably 75 times. I will watch it again.
So the MVP, obviously.
It's Denzel with a strong co-MVP push by Will Patton.
Do we have LVPs for these movies?
Let's do LVPs. I think it's. I think you're right, and it might be Jon Favreau in the first one.
Oh, absolutely.
But the dad kind of sucks too, because the dad never believes him. His brothers are getting on his ass, and the dad never believes him.
And the crazy thing is, Ned Beatty and Jon Favreau are great actors.
Yeah,
and they both turn in the worst performances maybe of their career.
LVP here, just the overacting. I think. I know I'm not mentioning one person, but
I feel bad saying Hayden Panettiere because she actually is a good actress. The character is so badly written.
Yeah.
I guess I blame the screenplay. The screenplay is very bad.
She's 9 years old, and she's just despondent about the Virginia High School Football Coaches Hall of Fame. she's just, God damn it!
I wanted that Hall of Fame.
I want it bad. Bitch, you're 9.
No one, yeah.
Go play with a doll.
People in Virginia don't care about the fucking Virginia Coaches Hall of Fame. Nobody gives a shit. It's so bizarre.
Oh, I love. Some of the stories they weaved into it, like these bad guys walking on the field. Coach, we took a straw poll. Looks like you're out of the Hall of Fame. All right, cool, cool. Oh, now, even though it's schlocky and all that, do you at least like the scene where Will Patton rallies the troops?
Which scene?
I want you to blitz all night.
I
want
don't because
to remember forever the night they played the Titans.
I don't because
Gooch, come on.
I like that.
But it's all based on the refs basically throwing the game, which is bizarre and not realistic. That's not going to happen.
If Will Patton walked in here right now and said, "I want you to blitz all night," your ass is blitzing.
You know what speech gets me more motivated? Your guy Chelsea Ross. No one comes to our house and pushes us around. That got me more revved up than Will Patton.
That's a very good movie speech.
It is.
Because he does not raise his voice.
No.
He just talks.
It's the intensity of his eyes.
Yeah, nobody.
No.
Comes into our house and pushes us around.
That got me more revved up.
And then they all get up and they're fired.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that's pretty good. When he gets them fired up and they're going through the tunnel and they're hitting the play like a champion today, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
But see, these movies aren't great, but there's this stuff in that.
What are you giving this movie 1 to 100? I'm
78.
Oh, you like this more than Rudy?
Yeah.
Oh, you're fucking.
I
gave Draft Day a 44.
I'm not proud of this score.
You shouldn't be. That's embarrassing.
I willingly recognize all of the things you've said. I still like it. I love sports and I like movies. But when sports movies are made, I give them a pass a little bit.
That's bullshit. We've done how many episodes of this show where you give movies so many lower grades?
What movies have I given lower grades I shouldn't have?
Half the movies we've done on this. No, you shouldn't have, but you gave
never
lower
gonna
grades.
bring the list, are you? Every week.
It doesn't matter. You're off the show. I'm
going
to make a new list. I'm just going to have a combined score because you're on this show anymore.
You know what? I'm not going to be off the show. How about I just do the show?
You can't. You're going to fly back here every once a week? I'm going to give this movie I gave Draft Day a 44. In my opinion, they're on the same wavelength. I will say Draft Day is stupid. Doesn't have the performance of Denzel. I'll give it a 54. Slightly above average. Do not recommend. And I'm probably being too kind.
I mean, I'm not going to hate on it. I get where you're coming from. But just believe in something one time, man. Just allow yourself to enjoy something one time. You ain't like I'm the hater on here.
Yeah.
You're the hater.
No. Maybe this week I am.
Just enjoy one time.
This week I'm the hater.
Turn it off. Hey, Klemmer. Turn it off every now and then. Come out to the world with me.
Just shut my brain off?
I think you'll like it.
Yeah, you shut your brain off a lot. We'll be back next week for Brandon's finale here.
I don't know if that's true.
You're going to stay here?
All right.
Brandon's finale here in Double Play. I don't know what we're going to cover yet, but that'll be interesting. I'll let Brandon pick. This is the last show, so he's allowed to pick the two movies.
We'll see if it's my last show or not. Quit telling him it's my last show.
You said on the fucking yak that you quit. Remember that, motherfucker?
See you next week.
Yeah.